I do them every year.
Every year.
You want to keep going?
Are you gonna do any more this
Do you want
year?
to keep going and keep harassing me? You could have gone to a dozen town halls last year.
I asked if you're doing any more this year. It was one simple question.
Yeah.
Are you doing a town hall
I've already
this year?
done one. I'll do plenty
Are you doing
more.
any more this year? It was a simple question.
You're always invited.
Okay, sweet. Well, look
And
out
by
for
the
an
way,
actual invitation
I
for the
voted
next
for
one.
gay marriage twice.
What does that have to do with
So
me?
I'm just saying, it has to everything to do with you.
Do you think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do,
That's
absolutely.
your first stance when you
Yep.
speak with me?
Absolutely.
There's no other humane
If you want to get in my
conversation you
face
can
about
have
town
me?
halls, you should have shown up
There's
to one last
humane
year.
thing you can talk about me just saying, oh, I support gay marriage.
Yeah,
That's the
because
only
you're
thing
getting
you
in
have
my
to
face
say.
about a town hall. You
All I
could have
did was
gone
ask you
last
one
year.
simple question from right
Would you
over
like
here
me?
is if you have any plans to have more town halls this year.
I have town
That was
halls
one
every year.
question.
I have over a dozen
Okay.
every year.
Great. That was my entire question. You didn't have to go
Yeah.
into the spiel about
You could
everything
have
else
you
wanted
could
to.
have come to any of them last year.
Okay. And I'm
I had
asking you
over
about
a
this year,
dozen.
not 2024. But
Where
for
were you the year
right?
before that?
Okay.
Or the year before that?
It was a simple
Oh,
question. I
because you
asked
know
if
what?
have
Because
any
you
more that
people
you're
on the
going to
left
this
are
year or not.
crazy.
So I'm
You're
on the left.
absolutely fucking crazy.
I'm absolutely fucking
You are.
crazy.
And get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
You're insane.
Fuck you.
You're gonna fuck me, and you're
Yep.
gonna be voted
Bye.
out so fast this year. I
I'm
can't
not.
wait for you to fucking
I'm
go
not.
into
I
the
won by
dirt.
so much.
You're a disgrace to this state. That's what you are. You're
Meanwhile,
Stop. Would you stop? And when you're going to stand and yell and disrespect everybody in this room because you think you're being heard, and let's be clear, you're not. Let's be very clear. You're not.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about some propaganda from the mainstream liberal media targeting Republicans, because the Republicans are more popular than the Democrat Party at this point. It doesn't matter which poll that you look at. President Trump and Republicans are more popular. They have a higher approval. The American people generally like Republicans and Trump better than Democrats and Democrat leadership. This is why there's so much propaganda from the mainstream liberal media to try to make it seem as if there's some mass revolt against Republicans happening in this country, okay? And they try to run propaganda when it comes to what happened to Byron Donalds, okay? Byron Donalds, he's running for governor of Florida. He had a town hall near Fort Myers, Florida, and you had a bunch of woke activists, Democrat Party activists that showed up to the town hall. And the media is trying to frame this as if, again, there's some type of massive Republican revolt against the GOP. Like, the Republican voters are turning on the GOP when, again, that's just simply not the case. Everybody knows that these are Democrat Party activists. But again, this is not how the media is framing this. Take a look.
What oversights are you imposing on Elon Musk and Doge?
Great question. With 53 students had the same access to the Social Security database. Wasn't okay then.
That set the tone for the night, and it quickly became clear many in the crowd were angry.
Do you guys want to yell or do you want to hear his question so I answer this question?
For most of the town hall, Donalds maintained his composure. But this question struck a nerve, one about diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Have you read the book Cass?
Jack Phelps.
Have you read the book of my life?
All right.
Whoa, stop. Don't educate me about my life, sir. Don't do that. I love how everybody's shouting at me, the black guy on stage with a microphone in his hand saying, have you read this book, read this book, read this book, read this book? Don't marginalize my life and what I've done. Don't do that. Don't marginalize the life of other black people in this country who have done well. Don't do
Chaos breaks out at a town hall meeting with Congressman Byron Donalds. Good evening and thank you for counting on Gulf Coast News. I'm Christy Soto. The meeting got so heated, people were being escorted out by deputies. Gulf Coast News reporter Madison Adams shows us the intense moments. Madison?
It was quite a rowdy town hall meeting. Byron Donalds answered questions from constituents, but things got heated pretty fast. The meeting ended with shouting matches and a few people escorted out of the room by deputies.
You are not the only person who has a point of view in this room. Hamas would either bludgeon her or worse.
Hundreds of Southwest Florida residents packed the auditorium at Estero High School to hear from Congressman Byron Donalds, some in support, others in opposition. Byron's running for governor. What do you think about that?
Oh, hell no. That ain't happening.
He's really exceeded expectations, and we're glad to see he's moving up
he's kind of a rising star, and we look forward to seeing him as governor.
Donalds took questions on a wide range of national topics, more about Washington than Florida. Issues like Elon Musk and Doge, DEI policies, gun rights, tariffs, and Social Security.
I want to honor Mr. Donalds. He likes athletes and people with special needs.
I'm tired of listening to lies. I've been apolitical all my life.
Do you think your voice was heard tonight?
No. Maybe somebody will listen to this.
By the end of the town hall, nearly half the crowd had left, many walking out before it was over.
I don't get surprised by much anymore. You just kind of deal with it as it comes. I could kind of tell from the first question or two what kind of night it was going to be. But, that's all right. It's part of the business.
Yeah, so you say that you heard that, okay? So what is happening here is that you have the mainstream liberal media and liberals pressuring Republicans who have these town halls just for liberals to show up and to not listen, right? So it's like, okay, what is the point of having the town hall if you're going to show up and you're not going to listen, okay? If you're going to scream and yell and shout and boo-hoo, then there's no point in having the town hall, right? Clearly, you're not there in good faith capacity in order to listen to what Byron Donalds has to say. So I know that the pro-blacks who make a living hating on black conservatives, they will be making a ton of videos about Byron Donalds being booed by a bunch of white liberals, right? They're saying, see, this is more proof that even the whites don't accept black conservatives, right? They'll run some type of crazy narrative like that. The reality is that Byron Donalds has a good chance of becoming governor of Florida. Also, we cannot forget that DeSantis is probably trying to kneecap him because it appears as if his wife is going to run. Okay, we'll see. But regardless, these are Democrat Party extremists. These are not Republican voters. These are not people who are actually interested in voting for Republicans that are showing up to these town halls. Okay, no, these are liberal Democrat extremists trying to make a point, right, that have become radicalized due to the lies from the mainstream liberal media. I mean, they're asking Byron Donalds questions about Doge, Elon Musk, DEI. You have people wearing Ukraine shirts, right? People, again, they're saying things and they're asking questions that Republican voters, I don't think, would ask, right? I think these are Democrat Party extremists, which is what Scott Jennings is going to tell CNN, right? He's going to give them a reality check on the people that are actually showing up to these town halls, as again they tried to push this propaganda that there's some type of nationwide revolt against Republicans. Again, this is the narrative that they're pushing in the media.
One thing that was definitely different about this weekend's big day of protest against Trump is that this time the protests got a lot of mainstream media coverage. I don't know if the protests a couple of weeks ago were like a surprise to the headline writers and newsrooms of America's major news outlets, but for whatever reason, a couple of weeks ago, that huge day of protest was really kind of played down or just underplayed somehow in the mainstream press. That definitely turned around for the protest this weekend. Headline, New York Times, shame. Protesters nationwide rally again to condemn Trump policies. Thousands of demonstrators rallied at hundreds of events on Saturday to speak out against the president's handling of immigration, civil liberties, job cuts, and many other issues. The Times front-page protest photos and protest signs like these ones, for sale, democracy, and resist, if not now, when, and arrest the kidnappers. Headline, Washington Post, 50-51 protests rally small towns and big cities against Trump policies. Protesters gathered in hundreds of rallies across the country to denounce President Donald Trump.
Would you be holding town halls? Do you recommend it?
I mean, I guess it depends on what you want how you want to spend your nights, getting yelled at by unhinged boomer Democrats. I mean, do you see like these people? And Karen said some things that were correct about people having some concern about the economy. Absolutely true. That's usually the top concern for voters. But did you hear the voter that we played? Elon Musk is personally invading my Social Security file. And that's not the mark of someone who's concerned about the economy. That's the mark of someone who's an unhinged boomer, Democrat, partisan activist who showed up to yell at a Republican. They didn't vote for Donald Trump before. They're not going to vote for him.
We don't know if they're a Democrat, but two, if they're a voter in the district, no matter what you think of their opinion of it,
but that person thinks that Elon Musk is personally invading his Social Security file. I mean, think about the level of conspiracy theory partisanship that you'd have to engage in to believe that the world's richest man is getting into your Social Security file.
I can definitely point you to some conspiracy theories that took us down some holes for many.
You ask me my opinion on these town halls,
cycles.
I'm telling you, Democrats love to do nothing more than show up and yell at Republicans. They used to do it mostly online. Byron Donalds goes and takes the punishment in person. Good for him, I guess. But I also think you have to understand, these are not representative of overall districts.
That is true. I will say that is true. It is definitely representative of a temperature of what's happening in
Democrats are mad.
Out in the
I
country.
agree.
Yeah, so you have CNN. They really, really, really want to push this narrative that this is representative of how the country as a whole feels about Trump, right? Again, mainly the Republican Party, right? Because ultimately at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff is just overt partisanship, okay? Again, you have these people who would never consider voting for Republicans showing up to these town halls and being angry, right, being unhinged, okay, at Republicans. But again, they would never vote for Republicans. So again, this is not representative of people who are on the fence, Republican voters, people who are swing vote. Like, that's not who this is representative of, right, at all. But I can tell you one thing, despite the propaganda from the media, okay, when you talk to actual voters about the Democrat Party and some of the things they're up to, like, for example, going to foreign countries to kidnap illegal immigrants, gang members, alleged wife beaters, and human traffickers, and bringing them back to the United States of America, because apparently the Democrats are gang members themselves. Like, for example, woke Congressman Maxwell Frost, who is from Florida, just like Byron Donalds, Nayib Bukele called him out because back in 2016, this guy said, "Effing with my gang, gonna get you spilled," right? This is what this dude said in the past, okay? This is a sitting member of Congress, okay? So now we're kind of saying why they are so concerned about a gang member, because it seems as if you have gang members in Congress, right? Democrats. I'm just saying, right? This is what they're putting out there. So with that being said, voters aren't too happy about Democrats participating in that, okay? And Fox News asked some voters on the streets in Maryland and Chris Van Hollen State about how they feel about their senator going all the way to another country to bring back an alleged gang member. Take a look.
You told my colleague Dana Bash yesterday that you did not ask Abrego Garcia whether or not he's actually in MS-13. You said you know what his answer is. But how do you know if you did not ask him?
Well, because I know what he's said many times in court, and that's the proper forum for debating this. And as we know, the federal district court judge in this case said, and I brought it with me again, and I'm going to read it, no evidence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13 or to any terrorist activity, period. That has been what Abrego Garcia has been telling the court. And I would ask you, Caitlin, really, if I'd come back and said, oh, I asked him if he was an MS-13 and he said, no, he wasn't. I mean, right? The whole point is this is a conversation that's supposed to happen in court, which is why I have said to Donald Trump to either put up or shut up in court. And that's true for Mike Waltz and all of these people. Put up or shut up in court. But in the meantime, you need to respect the court's decision on this fundamental constitutional issue, or you're calling those rights in question for everybody who resides in America.
So there's this illegal immigrant. He was living in Maryland, designated MS-13 terrorist, and Donald Trump deported him. How does that make you feel?
I feel safer.
He gotta go. He gotta go.
Need to go. I mean, that's it.
But he was a father.
But he's still a terrorist.
Okay. I mean, but there's children living without fathers now.
He should have picked the tree, so he picked to be a terrorist instead of worrying about his children.
The Democrats, they want him back. They say he was wrongfully deported. He has a wife and a kid who's a citizen. They're calling this a national emergency. Is this a national emergency?
I wouldn't call it a national emergency. We got more things going on.
We have more things, more fish to fry.
I just found out about it, so I don't think so. What kind of national emergency? For what? What is the emergency for?
Ain't no national emergency, no.
He was accused of hitting his wife twice and was a suspected human smuggler. Was he wrongfully deported?
No, he need to go.
If he's a smuggler, yeah, he needs to be deported.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
Your senator here, Chris Van Hollen, he flew to El Salvador where this guy was deported. He met with them, had lunch with them, had margaritas on the table. What's up with your senator?
I have no idea, but I do believe that was a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Margaritas.
You agreeing with somebody whipping their wife, terrorizing where you live, then you don't need to live here either.
Senator Van Hollen, you need to come see me, Mr. Coley, because you doing like that. You need to take care of home before you go in other states.
He went to El Salvador.
Oh, that's another country, excuse me.
What has Senator Chris Van Hollen ever done for you?
Nothing.
Nothing.
For me, nothing.
Nothing that I know of.
He ain't do me. I can admit that.
I've never even heard of this person.
Do you want Kilmar Abrego Garcia, this quote-unquote Maryland dad, living back in Maryland?
No. No.
No.
No.
Not if he's doing trafficking, no.
Why the want somebody like that back? No.
What is your message to the Democrats who really want him back in your community?
Why would you want that in my community? Bring it to your community and see how long you like it up there.
Leave them, or y'all go over there with them.
You're focused on the wrong thing.
If they illegal coming over here, send them back.
Could that be a Logan Act violation? Because he in no way, shape, or form, even though he's in the U.S. government, he did not have the approval of the U.S. government to go down there and negotiate the release of a prisoner.
It's very possible, but at something that's even bigger than that is he looks like an utter fool. Because now the information's coming out about this guy. Obviously, yes, he was in the country illegal. His wife was saying he was an abusive person. He was hanging out with MS-13 gang members when he got picked up. And he's down in El Salvador trying to negotiate a release. This is the buffoonery of the Democratic left. It's the reason they were boat raced last November. It's the reason they will continue to lose. How about a U.S. senator actually stand up for the American people, the rule of law, actually securing our borders and sending people home who do not belong in our country? I wish he would spend his time doing that as opposed to going down to El Salvador to prove to all Americans that he's a fool.
Absolutely. Congressman Byron Donalds, great to see you. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, so I guarantee you, those voters are much closer to a representation of the average Democrat than those people at Byron Donalds Town Hall being a representation of Republican voters, right? I guarantee you that much, okay? Those people that was boohoo, whining, and crying at the GOP town hall, at Byron Donalds Town Hall, they're not Republican voters, right? They're not even close to Republican voters. But those people that you just saw from Maryland, yeah, I'm pretty sure that they definitely represent the average Democrat voter and how the average Democrat thinks about what Democrats are currently doing, right? And that's the crazy part about this that the media doesn't want to talk about, okay? For as much as they want to try to make it seem like the country is turned against the GOP, no. The country's actually turned against the Democrat Party, okay? The Democrat Party, their approval rating is down in the dumps, okay? There's not anybody in this country or anything or any entity more unpopular than the Democrat Party at this point, and to pretend as if the backlash is against the GOP and not the Democrat Party is crazy, right? It's crazy, okay? This is the type of propaganda that they pushed in the media. This is the type of psyop that they're conducting. How in the world is the Democrat Party approval rating sitting so low, but yet the liberal media wants to make it seem as if everybody's revolting against Trump, when that's just simply not the case, okay? Everybody, including the left, are revolting against the Democrat Party, right? That's who the country has thoroughly rejected at this point. Let's keep it all the way 100, okay? The Democrat Party is the most unpopular group of people, the most unpopular organization, the most unpopular entity that we've seen in a long time. And there's no amount of propaganda that's going to change the fact that the American people have rejected the Democrats in their policies, okay? They have 4 years to get it together and they failed, right? So, you know, again, I think normal people can see that a lot of this stuff is fake, it's staged, it's designed to try to make the GOP look bad. We're just 3 months into President Trump's administration. They haven't even passed their signature piece of legislation. And all of a sudden you got these people that are revolting, right? No, these are just liberal activists, right? These are far left lunatics who were going to protest no matter what Trump did. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.